I not do my job correctly.
Yeah, I have more Gindas too. Two more Gindas.
No, I don't think I printed. I think I printed the wrong ones. Yes.
At recess.
While we're waiting for my staff report,
Yeah.
just want to remind you that this is a five-member board, and if this is to pass, it takes all three of you to vote in favor to pass because it's the majority of the five-member board, not the majority here. So if you decide during this process that you want to pass this, all three of you have to accept it.
We will take a brief recess at 5:35 to wait on these staff reports.
What I gave you is a picture of the facility, and the red line is where he's planning on putting his 10-foot fence, okay?
I'll close the recess at 8:38, and we will open the BZA meeting back up at 8:38.
Thank you.
Mr. Stock, may we please have the staff report?
You sure can. Thank you, Mr. President, members of the BZA. The applicant is Sharon Vardani, and Sharon is not here today, but his brother is here representing him, as he too is part of the business. The address that we're going to talk about is at 2021 East Wabash Street in Frankfort, Indiana. The request is the petitioner is requesting a standard variance to the city's zoning section 50313, accessory uses and structures. Specifically, the petition for approval is to allow a 10-foot fence to be placed on this property instead of a 6-foot fence on both the east and west sides of the property. The zoning of this property is roadside business, and the site characteristics is the request is part of the southeast quarter section 11T2IN RIW 2nd PM Center Township, Clinton County, Indiana, more commonly known as 2021 East Wabash Street, Frankfort, Indiana, 46041. The ordinance reference for this is 503.13, fences which are permitted as accessory structures in any district, require an improvement location permit, must meet the visual clearance requirements of UDO Section 30611. The height of all fences will be measured from the ground level and must meet the following standards. Fences have no required setbacks from primary or accessory structures on the same property. This does not affect the visual clearance in Section 30611. A petition or line fence where necessary shall be built and maintained between adjacent properties in accordance with state law and the City of Frankfort fence ordinance. B, except for partition fences, all fences must be located entirely upon the lot which it serves, though the fence may be located immediately adjacent to the property line. C, no fence in any district except for those serving agricultural uses shall be constructed of or contain barbed wire, broken glass, spikes, or sharp or dangerous objects, nor be electrically charged except the barbed wire may be used at the top portion of a permitted fence or wall located more than 7 feet above the adjacent ground level. All posts for wood panel, stockade, or similar type fences shall not be located on the side of said fence facing adjacent property or road right-of-way. I do want to say, go back to where the barbed wire, they're not petitioning to have a barbed wire on the top of this 10-foot fence. Fence for swimming pools shall meet UDO Section 50303 and all other provisions of this ordinance and state law. In F, the residential or business districts, no fence or wall of more than 6 feet in height may be placed, built, or installed in the side and rear setbacks of any lots. No fence or wall of more than 42 inches may be placed, built, or installed within 25 feet of the street right-of-way in any residential district or general business district, nor within 75 feet of any street right-of-way in the roadside business district. All fences and walls must be in compliance with the visual clearance area requirements of this ordinance. G, in the industrial district, a fence or wall shall not exceed 8 feet in height, may be placed, built, or installed at the property lines in required side or rear yards, excepting in that portion of any required yard that lies within the visual clearance area. Additionally, the height of such fence may be increased by 6 inches for each 3 foot of distance from the property line to a maximum height of 12 feet. 1, the request analyst. The approval will not be injurious to the public health, morals, and general welfare of the community. Placing a 10-foot fence along the east and west sides of his property will help, as neighbors have complained in the past of the number of cars that sit in the back of the building to be stripped of parts and then wait for disposal. Placing the 10-foot fence would not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, or general welfare of the community. 2, the use and value of the area adjacent to the property, including the variance, will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. By placing this 10-foot fence, it will cover up what the neighbors consider an eyesore. The use and value of the area adjacent to the property will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. It should help them. 3, the strict application of the terms of zoning ordinance will result in practical difficulties in the use of the property. The strict application of the terms of zoning ordinance will result in a practical difficulty, as neighbors make several complaints about Sharon's business. Placing a 10-foot fence and not a 6-foot fence as required by the ordinance should make it more private for the neighbors and fewer items to look at in the backyard of Sharon's business. Our recommendation is that the standard variance should be approved, subject to the findings, the facts of this staff report. I'm open to any questions, and as I said, Sharon's brother are here to answer questions also.
Don, quick question on point G. Can we have a little more clarification on the maximum height of 12 feet?
Yeah, so in an industrial area, that's what this is talking about. So once you get to a height and you start increasing it by 6 inches for each, so it can be increased 6 inches for each 3 feet. So the fence would have to move back once it got to be 12 feet in a 6-inch span. So everything above it makes the fence move back so that if the fence should fall down or fall over, it'll still maintain on the industrial property.
Any more questions from the board for Don? All right, Don, thank you. Do we have any more from the petitioner to speak on this application that you guys would like to add? Okay, here none. Well, we will now open this for the public. Just a reminder to state your name and address for our record. If you would like to speak on this petition, this would now be your time.
Hi, Nicole Crockett, 458 South Mash Road. I would like to know what is going to happen with the existing chain link fence that is on some of our properties, and also if the trees are going to be removed, because the trees are more private than the 10-foot fence, and I already have a lot of light that shines onto my property, lights up the whole back of my house. Just curious on how all of that is going to work.
No, come on up. Yeah. Great question.
Hi, my name is Tigran. So what's gonna happen to your guys' fences? So it's basically the new fence is gonna be on our property because we already ordered the survey to have the lines, everything. So it's up to you basically. What we can do, we can remove yours if it's in a bad condition. We can do that, remove yours. It will be on us. We'll pay for the labor, and we can install the new fences there. Or what we can do, we can install our new fences, and yours can be there. We don't mind. So basically, the new fence is going to be on our property. If you want to remove yours, we can do it for you, and we don't mind it.
What does that?
About the trees.
Yes.
So, us personally, we don't want to remove any of the trees. Because basically it makes it nicer, it makes it private, as you said. So whatever we do, we're gonna do the best to not cut any piece of the tree to install the fence. So it's either gonna be like maybe cutting some sticks so the fence will be there, but we want to leave the trees.
So I can keep my fence and I can keep my trees.
You can keep the fence, of course, and the trees, if you don't mind, for us to cut some sticks so we can install the fence.
Right.
Yeah, that's what we want to do.
Okay. Is there anything we can do about the light?
About the light,
Yes.
sunlight,
No, not the
lights
sun.
on the fence.
The light that turns on at night and lights up my whole backyard. And
Oh, the
back
light
of
on
my
our
house.
property that lights up your backyard.
Yes, correct.
I think after the 10-foot fence, it should not light up too much your property. So you mind the light to be on your property. Did I understand it correctly?
Yes.
Yes. So what we can do, we will see after the placing the fence. If it still lights up your property, we'll try to change the angle a little bit, and we will help.
Okay. That's all I got. You want to ask about your fence?
Yes, please.
It's being telecast on YouTube. That's the only way they can hear you.
Carol Weaver, 450 South Mash Road. And the fence that it is my understanding that the fence behind our home is their fence. And I was told May 17th, I believe, of 2023, when I inquired about that, and they said that would either be fixed or replaced. And I took pictures yesterday. I don't know if anybody wants to see those, but the fence is deteriorated, falling down, big holes. And your new fence does not come to our property. Not the best pictures, but
The new fence does not go far, go down to
No.
your property.
No, Nikki lives next door to us. It goes to her property, but doesn't extend to ours.
Doesn't go any farther.
Just shy of the red line.
You have an, can you answer that?
So, you were talking about this one. This one.
Over here, yeah.
So, the first meeting, Suren promised you that we were gonna either fix, replace, or make it
Yes.
look better, the fence. So it doesn't have to do anything with this. We promised you we're gonna do it.
Okay, that was, how long have you been in the property?
Probably a little less than a year, but we're getting to it. There's a lot to do on that property, but we have promised you to do it. We'll do it.
Okay, because there's a lot of traffic that goes really fast down that area. And we have pets, almost everybody in the neighborhood has pets. And I don't want my pets getting killed by having
As I
no
said,
fence.
we're gonna fix it for you. And,
He's saying, can you extend it?
all the way here.
Yeah,
What we're gonna do, instead of 10-foot, we're gonna place here 6-foot fences. So,
as
That's
long
not-
as there's a fence.
yeah,
I'm fine
as I
with
said,
that.
it's gonna be a 6-foot fence here. I know exactly what fence you're talking
Okay.
about. It's important for us to fix it. And
Okay,
as
so
we
the
have
next
promised
time you come before the board, I won't have to be up here.
You don't have to worry about anything.
Okay. I'm gonna come over there.
Let me just say one thing. I get where you're coming from, and that is Sharon's business has taken a lot of their time since our meeting to allow them to do their business to adjust the inside of the building. They had a tremendous amount of work that had to be done in there. The fire suppression system was not in working condition. And so they had to spend a lot of their time dealing with the inside of the building to get it ready so that they could actually start setting offices in there. I'm not trying to make excuses for them. I can tell you that at the very first meeting, when we were coming before the BZA asking them to give permission for their business to be in place, we talked about this 10-foot fence back then. And Sharon told me that they were going to do it, but they were going to wait until they got their stuff done inside the building and be able to open up their car dealership in the front. So that is one of the things that the reason why this fence wasn't attacked way long ago. But they're now in a position to be able to now adjust themselves to the outside because of the work that they have completed on the inside. And so that's one reason why it's taken a while for them to come before the board to ask for this fence. Not trying to make excuses, just kind of laying it out on what actually happened.
Well, I do have a question.
Mm-hmm.
The cars, there's no sign that says. There are cars out there, but there are no, are what the price of the car is. So is it a lot, a car lot?
Yes, ma'am. The reason why you don't see anything is because they work in the inside of the building, and they had requirements to meet to be able to put anybody in there as far as offices and the actual dealership. They're closing in on getting that completed. Once they do that, then they'll have to come not back here, but back to my office to be able to place a sign on their wall, or any type of a freestanding sign that used to be on the property. They would have to come back to us to place that sign on there. They haven't done that yet. They're not ready to open up their car dealership. I can't talk to you about how their business is being ran because I don't know that. I just know that once they get the inside taken care of, and they made a major step in getting the fire suppression system in place. It actually had gone bad because of the cold weather, and it took a lot of their funding and working process to get that guy up and going. they were allowed to work in the back because it was a separate building or a separate business, even though it's part of what it is they're doing. And they got a temporary permit or occupancy to be in the back. But they didn't have anything to be in the front until they got certain things taken care of. So that's why it's just taken them a long period of time because of all the requirements that they had to meet inside the building.
So in order to have a car lot, there is a requirement of a certain amount of office space interior that is in existence. So you can't just have like a tent or anything outside and then sell the cars. So before they can open that, they have to meet the Indiana code requirements for the office space.
Well, the scuttlebutt around the neighborhood was, okay, are they housing those cars there and then at the other facility selling them?
So our dealership operates on North Jackson Street, and the cars that are parked in the front, they are just parked there, but we sell them and we operate from the Jackson Street. So they are basically just parked there. We don't invite any of our customers to go and check the cars on that lot. We always call us, make an appointment, and they meet us on Jackson Street. So basically, we don't do any business right now on Wabash Street. We just keep the cars there because the Jackson Street parking lot is not big enough to allow us to keep all the cars there. Yeah,
But you do plan to have a car dealership out there, yeah.
sure. We plan. We are working on the front of the building now. We are building a big showroom there, and we're gonna operate as a dealership there, and it's gonna be a very nice place. There is a lot to do there. That's why it takes a lot of time, and it is. And to meet all the requirements, we did a lot of stuff to make sure that all the safety requirements are met.
So eventually, are you going to have set working hours?
Sure.
Because right now you kind of have weird working hours.
So
where-
our working hours are until 6 p.m. But after 6 p.m., we might use that time to park the cars, to clean the building, and that kind of stuff. Basically, what we do, we work until 6 p.m. Sometimes it might be 6:30, but after that, we park the cars so it will not be chaos there. So we use that time to park the cars, to make sure they are on their spaces, to make sure that all the chains are closed. As you can see, there are chains. We're going to replace them too soon. It's going to be an operable gate there with the remote, and yeah, that's why sometimes it takes time. And there might be also electricians that making sure inside the buildings all the lighting and stuff. So that's why it looks like that right now. But after we open the business, of course, there's going to be a business hour, and we're not going to operate after that.
You might tell some of those young fellas that work for you to slow down. when
I
you're
will do it
building.
right when I leave the building.
Yeah, because
Show them a yellow card. Sorry for that.
they drag strip there real bad.
Sorry. That's my bad. I should be there all the time. I can't manage that, but I'll let them know.
Any other comments? Hearing none, I will close the public hearing. Do we have any further discussion from the board? It was a very good conversation. Okay, was there a given of notice?
Yes, it was published in the Frankfurt Times, October 22nd, 2024, and it was mailed to the property owners October 30th, 2024.
Okay, we have a quorum. We stated before the meeting, we do not have a conflict of interest. I will now call for a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve the variance.
Second.
First and a second, roll call, please.
Scott Highlander,
Aye.
Mike Nichols,
Aye.
Isaac Chavez.
Aye. Okay, moving forward, we are going to take a look at public hearing docket 2024-014. Petitioner is Mark Ginda, requesting developmental standard variance to allow placement of an 8-foot tall privacy fence in a B residential zone. Mr. Stock, may we please have the staff report?
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the BZA. Mark could not be here this evening. He had other engagements to go to. But the address is 410 Pratt Street. The request is that the petitioner is requesting a standard variance to the city's zoning section 50313, accessory uses and structures. Specifically, the petition for approval is to allow an 8-foot fence to be placed on his property instead of a 6-foot fence in his backyard to extend an already existing 8-foot fence to his detached garage. The zoning is in a B residential district. The site is located on lots number 29, 30, and 82 in the Cloverleaf addition to the city of Frankfort, Indiana, commonly known as 410 Pratt Street in Frankfort, Indiana. The ordinance reference is 503013. Fences are permitted as accessory structure in any district, requiring an improvement location permit, and must meet the visual clearance requirements of UDO section 30611. The standard height of all fences will be measured from the ground level and must meet the following standards. Fences have no required setbacks from primary or accessory structures on the same property. This fence will not be in an issue with the visual clearance requirements in section 30611. A, the petition or line fences where necessary shall be built and maintained between adjacent properties in accordance with the state law and the City of Frankfort fence ordinance. Except for partition fences, all fences must be located entirely upon the lot which it serves, though the fence may be located immediately adjacent to the property line. No fence in any district except for those serving agricultural uses may be constructed or contain barbed wire, broken glass spikes, or sharp or dangerous objects, nor be electrically charged, except that the barbed wire may be used at the top a portion of a permitted fence or wall if located more than 7 feet above the adjacent ground level. There is no wire fence that will be on this fence. All posts for wood panels, stockade, or similar type fences shall not be located on the side of said fence facing adjacent property or road right-of-way. Fences for swimming pools shall meet UDO section 50303 and all the provisions of this ordinance and state law. In residential or business districts, no fence or wall of more than 6 feet in height may be placed, built, or installed in the side or rear setbacks of any lot. No fence or wall of more than 42 inches may be placed, built, or installed within 25 feet of any street right-of-way in any residential districts or general business districts, nor within 75 feet of any street right-of-way in the roadside business district. All fences and walls must be in compliance with the visual clearance area requirements of this ordinance. And in an industrial district, a fence or wall not to exceed 8 foot in height may be placed, built, or installed to the property lines in required side or rear yards, excepting that in the portion of any required yard that lies within the visual clearance. Additionally, the height of the fence may be increased by 6 inches for each 3 feet of distance from the property line to a maximum height of 12 feet. I placed section G in the findings to explain why Mark has an 8-foot fence already on the north side. The fence was placed before the Unified Development Ordinance was passed, and the zoning was changed from industrial on this lot to B residential. Request analyst, the approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals, or general welfare of the community. Placing an 8-foot fence along the backyard would not be injurious to public health, safety, and general welfare of the community. It would help the neighborhood by covering up an industrial business, tall grass, and other items in the yard. 2, the use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. By placing this 8-foot fence, it will cover up an eyesore from the industrial business to the west. If that business had made some changes to their property, we would have made them place landscaping and a berm on their side of the fence, and this 8-foot fence would not be needed. The use and value of the area adjacent to the property will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. The strict application of the terms of zoning ordinance will result in practical difficulties in the use of the property. In the strict application of the terms of the zoning ordinance will result in practical difficulties as the owner would not be able to sell his home with with the decline in the value of the property. The UDO requires that the industrial business separate their business and the noise they would create by placing landscaping in a berm to help the residents from the issue that they are bringing. Until the business makes changes and updates their business, we cannot require them to do so. The recommendation, the standard variance should be approved subject to the findings of facts and staff report. And now I'm open to any questions.
Don, what is the business that's to the west?
It is a lumber company. Gosh, I can't think of it right now, but it's a lumber company.
Forest Products?
Forest Products, thank you.
Okay.
The mess that's right behind them is where they've maybe taken things that they no longer use and lay them in their yard, have them sit back there. And there are all kinds of probably sucker trees that are growing back there. It's kind of a messy mess. And Mark wants to be able to get away from that.
Hide that, so to speak, yeah.
Mark's not here, do we have a message or any comments from him? Any further on that?
I do not have anything from him.
We have
I was out there, we're requiring him to put sidewalks up on his property, so that's what got our conversation started. Being the fact that he had already started the 8-foot fence because it was zoned industrial before he started actually putting his house up, and the UDO was placed, it only kind of makes sense to allow him to continue the 8-foot fence along the back of the property. To put a 6-foot fence up, one, wouldn't cover everything that needs to be covered. And I think it would look kind of funky by having an 8-foot fence and all of a sudden it drops 2 feet to a 6-foot fence that wouldn't even be the same kind of fence that he has up.
Thank you, Don. Anything else? Okay, we will now open this to the public. If you have any comments, this will now be your time to speak. Hearing none, I will close the public. The public hearing is closed. Any further discussion from the board? All right. Was there a given of notice?
Yes, it was published at the Frankfurt Times, October 22nd, 2024, and mailed to the property owners within 100 feet, October 25th, 2024.
Okay, we have a quorum and no conflict of interest. I will now call for a motion.
Make a motion.
I'll second it.
Approve. Sorry.
I'll second it.
First and second, roll call, please.
Scott Highlander,
Aye.
Mike Nichols,
Aye.
Isaac Chavez.
Aye. Standard variance passes. Moving forward, do we have any other old business? Or any additional discussion from the board? Okay, hearing none, I will take a motion for adjournment.